able to tool the block, which they said, of course, that's always in our game plan. Swing deep, tool the block, attack zone one. Those are the things they have to be consistent in no matter who they're playing.
Tell you what, Mississippi State is getting Georgia out of system on the service line.
To play good defense, or it puts your team at a big disadvantage when your opponent has three choices. And right now, Mississippi State serving really, as I say that, of course, Cromartie.
Ranking last in the SEC, just over an ace per set. But you see here early on, they're creating
to make sure they were ready for SEC play.
Libero Lily Gunter back to serve. Georgia's going to try to get the offense going here. Bailey Cox with a set to the left pin. Here's Coulter now, and to Waden try. So 2 challenges apiece now still for both sides. Coulter to the backside. Waden tries the change up. Kept up for a moment.
As Lacey Jeffcoat plays some defensive specialist for them, but they carry a big load, and serve receive is a large part of that.
Free ball coming here for Mississippi State. Coulter to Myrick. Her first against Missouri right now. And they took the first set at home. Here at Mississippi State, the Bulldogs leading Georgia 11-5 here in this opening set. Way to track it down there for Bailey Cox, just having to throw it over. Coulter will set the left pin, and Myrick off the top.
High hands, those are the things that'll just drive a blocker crazy.
Up the middle there was Sage Powell. And Sage will get a kill last summer. Congratulations to Sage. Here's Lauren Myrick again into the cross court, kept up for a moment, but
won a season ago, but with a new right side player in Tori Harper and Alexa Fortin, their second setter, who had really just come a long way in the spring and earned the coach's trust. They felt like this system made the most sense for their talent right now, and it presents a big block in every rotation.
On the slide there, Petty's into the dig of Clara Brower. Back row attack from Myrick, and finds the
out of the back row as well, and you can't find a corner better than that.
Myrick into the net with a service error, but Lauren with 8 straight matches with 10 or more kills coming into the start of SEC play in the last 4 matches. Myrick with the first contact. Petty's off 1 foot. Job well.
Has so many angles that she can cut that off at. Just such a natural slide attacker, and that's not the case for all middles.
Casey Evans elevates as
the freshman of the year just 3 years ago, and I feel like that's probably a little bit of locker room material for her. Unfortunately, last season she missed quite a bit of time because of COVID. She was at other schools, but said, I just love Georgia too much. This is where I want to be, and Coach Black was so glad to have her back.
So Alexa Fortin will go from behind. Sophie Fisher there.
She has been to their success early in the season, but Coach said it's not just her play, it's the type of person she is. She was able to fit in so quickly, great chemistry with the team, and that's really
in the opening set.
Wow. And if you're Georgia, you know that's a topic of conversation. They're going to have to be tougher from the service line.
Evans with a second contact. There's a nice swing on the left pin.
With over 2 kills per set, so more than pulling her weight.
And she was probably one of the biggest bright spots for Georgia in the sweep to Georgia Tech.
All her attackers involved.
Lily Gunter, the libero, to serve once again. And that one
to having 2 experienced outsides in Stivrins and Evans, and he knew that they would do a great job leading this team. But wow, some of his youngsters like Mash, we saw Haugen on the left side, so they're 3 deep there even without Stivrins as they try to.
Mississippi State hitting .684. Coulter to Myrick all the way across the face. Kept up, and looks like we'll have a violation of some sort, but we'll
decide there, but great defensive effort.
A set from Brower to the left pin, and there's Mash again.
Option situations, the pass is well off the net. Mississippi State has time to get blockers out there, and Mash just finding a way to get it done.
Myrick on the first contact, gets it back into the cross court.
To the scene last year, flew a little under the radar. She's going to have much more of a target on her back this year, as teams will have her circled on the scouting report after the success she had a season ago.
Yeah, 6 kills now from Myrick. That gets her to 600 for her career as a Bulldog. And
they have fast attacks from each antenna there. When I say fast, I mean fast. Petties and Cromartie, there aren't two players that are going to come at you much quicker.
Brower tries Froming on her first swing. Here's Evans into the dig of Lauren Myrick. Back row floater is kept alive by Georgia. Tries to go over in two. Now Evans looking for high hands. Not going to away from set point. Close to the net as Powell was able to put it into a dig in the back row. On the right side, Megan Froming kept up once again in the back. And
such a wide range of shots from her, so impressive.
A 4-0 run from Mississippi State. Casey Evans says not so fast. A little bit of an emphatic swing there. 5 kills.
That's what Casey brings to the floor. Coach Black said she's one of those do as I do kind of players.
Nonetheless, still set point. And Cromartie's going to finish it.
Got to create some pressure because, as you pointed out, Sam, how well Mississippi State sided out in that first set. They end up with a 92.9% side out rate after the first set. Georgia's going to have to do something from the service line.
It doesn't get much better than that. And that went into the end. Yeah, and Casey with 5 kills, 10 attempts in that first set, just 1 error. So she hit 400. As a joust at the net, somebody was into it, and I believe it was
one arm. So already Georgia making some improvements from the service line.
And that serve from Petties goes long by 2. Start of SEC conference play here tonight. A couple of other games also in action elsewhere in the country, but here, a battle of the Bulldogs. And
the service line now is able to create a one-option situation with Cromartie well off the net. They're not able to run that quick offense, and it makes all the difference in the world.
There's
the front row, and that's Cromartie right now. Pulled back into the passing rotation, but she's got double duty, has to pass and think about offense, and that time she's backing away.
So back-to-back aces for Sophie Fisher, normally known for her play up at the net. Her 1.5 blocks per set is good for, I believe it's 17th in the nation or so.
On the flip side, Mississippi State was in a 6-2 last year, and now that's Gabby Coulter, who just moments ago was across the front row, and she's running a 5-1.
Service line for them. Gabby Coulter to send it away here. Fortin. So 3-0 run for Mississippi State. Here on the left pin mash.
This match.
Clara Brower and Alexa Fortin in the 6-2 for Georgia, both setters. How about that swing?
Giving her that opportunity to run down the middle, and it's a chance for her to maybe just have one blocker up against her, and she takes full advantage of it.
Mackenzie Norris into the match as well. The redshirt sophomore wearing number 11 in black. Here's Lauren Myrick trying the line.
It's up inside, but she can only do that if her setter pushes the ball all the way out to the antenna, and that's what Coulter does there.
Mash pushes it into the back row, not much behind it. That one off the block. The swing from Whedon.
Side and a youngster in their freshman Tori Harper opposite her, but Megan Froming had 11 kills in their win over NC State. So
senior from Marietta, Georgia. So all knotted 7 apiece here in the second set. Mississippi State took the opener 25-14. Coulter will try Myrick again, floats one over, dug up in the back there. On the left side, Evans. Just the second error of the match for Casey Evans as Lily Gunter sends it away. Evans right back on the attack, this time into the block as Coulter up the middle. Petties.
Of slowing down that Casey Evans swing. They're able to get a touch on it, a soft block that allows them to transition, and they just can't quite complete it.
Brower to the middle for Fisher.
She stays engaged throughout the entire rally, just works so hard as a middle blocker. She was on the outside during her days at Kentucky, so it's been fun to see her make that transition back to the middle where she played as a younger. Cheating that way, knows where it's going to go, closes the block, and great press with her hands there.
Coulter to the right pin.
Not just because she comes at you so fast, but that she has such range with such a fast attack, and you saw that right there.
Nice change.
The back row a year ago. So Sophie Fisher's sort of picking on her. I don't think Georgia's serving has been perfect, but it's been just enough to create some pressure. All of a sudden, look here, Mississippi State chasing balls down. In that first set, they regularly had 3 options, and with the speed of their offense, that's impossible to stop, but that has not been the case here in the second set.
There's Sophie. Have certainly been serving a lot more tough to this Mississippi State side as Myrick swings into the dig of Mallory Downing in transition. Tori Harper's shot blocked at the net. Here's Sanaya Pett. So Mississippi State given the point. It was, I believe, double contact on Georgia, but the block was still impressive nonetheless.
Very, yeah. And I'll tell you what, Mississippi State dodges a bullet there.
Got 25 service service errors this year, but the aces come with it. Digs it up there. Good chance coming for Georgia. Fisher.
The off blocker for Mississippi State. There's got to be some communication there about who's going to pick that up. They haven't done a great job defending the off speed.
Casey Evans sends it away. Coulter back for the set. Cromartie tries to go slow over top. Georgia read it well. Bailey Cox on the set.
Options. So for all those fans who are always saying, I don't understand why the volleyball players don't just serve it in bounds, you're getting a good lesson as to why they don't do that. Georgia did that in set 1, and you'll see it didn't go so well for them in set 2.
Georgia still hitting 271 for the match, but 316 here in this second set. Deja Robinson 15-13. Fortin to Fisher. Off of Deja Robinson's hand. Petty's with a second contact to Cromartie. Casey Evans with a dig in the back row. Fisher down to get it. Petty's there for Mississippi State. Cromartie.
Second set, there was a ball off the block that the setter was forced to pick up. You really don't want that if you're Mississippi State. You want her setting that second ball.
So that was in. Apologies. Cromartie with 8 kills now in the match. Joust at the net. Push to the back. And point's going to... Out of system for Cromartie. Blocked straight down. Somehow was kept up in the air. On the right side, Tori Harper.
For Alexa Fortin, as there's a big gap in that block, and Harper goes right at it.
Harper's played in all 12 matches so far for Georgia. Evans to Harper. And
she's just trying to save that ball. So we have not seen a great offensive flow from Mississippi State, and all the credit goes to Georgia and the service runs that they've been able to make. Sophie Fisher right there out of bounds.
For Sophie Fisher, a couple of service aces. Seen her in the middle, seen her on the pins as well. Coulter straight up the middle for Deja Robinson.
Offensively, particularly getting her the ball in transition, and boy, she does a great job of it there.
They led the team last year with 139. Florida were for real this year. They answered that in 3 sets tonight against their respective opponents, both with sweeps. Cromartie, Myrick, I mean, these are players that, you know, quite frankly could have easily transferred, but decided to stick with a program and stay with their teams. And Cromartie looking for the far corner.
That there's some emotional glue there, that there's some stability over time, because yes, we're seeing some super teams thrown together through the transfer portal, but will they mesh? Will they have the chemistry that they need in a short period of time?
Gabby Coulter with 5 double-doubles through 10 matches this year. Playing in the 6-2 last year, only had 6. Here's Mash taking it over the top of the block. Not much behind it. Cromartie with the speed, but
her size, she's not going to be nearly as effective on that high outside set with 2 blockers waiting on her. Service error, but I think Coach Black will take it. As we said, they needed to have more errors here in this second set. They had to go back to the service line and be aggressive.
Off 1 foot.
Really good off 1 foot, which just gives them options offensively.
Froming's got 3 kills in the match. Clara Brower up the middle. This time it's Mackenzie.
Hanging up a pretty high ball there in the middle. They're not going to make any mistakes with that connection, but just allow her to swing around one blocker, and she's doing a great job.
Georgia has scored 5 of the last 6 as Casey Evans tries to tip one into the block. Kept on Georgia's side. And Lily Gunter sends it away. And a kill up the middle.
Mississippi State just trying to make an adjustment to that style of an attack. Out of the middle, it's very high. Quite honestly, it's different from what Mississippi State sees in their own gym. We know how fast they like to go.
In the second set, it's been heavy sets to Cromartie. Lacey Jeffcoat with the serve, and that'll do it. As Sophie Fisher evens things up.
Some emotional glue, and I think that we see that pay off with these younger players who feel confident with these older players around them that they've gotten to know so well.
So Mississippi State took the first set. Georgia takes the second here in the third set. Cromartie's first 9 in the second.
Yeah, it cooled off just a bit, didn't they?
I would say a little bit, yeah.
By the way, coming out of high school, and you see her ability to get up above the net there with that big block.
Mash steps into one. The block is there. Mississippi State started celebrating. They thought it was down, but it was kept up in the back row. Here's Cox on the pass. Mash off balance. Coulter to Robinson.
She becomes even more and more involved in their offense.
Leads the team with 33 blocks through 10 matches this year, but you're seeing the offense here in this third set as Cromartie off high hands. Evans just able to get a hand to it. And a free ball coming here for Mississippi State, and it's finished off by who else?
High hands instead of getting blocked, so she's made a great adjustment there.
Back row attack, and Casey Evans into the net there.
Yeah, we know Deja Robinson.
So Casey Evans, 5 kills, 17 attacks, 4 errors. As Fortin has to go get that one. Mash into a block. As Coulter sets Robinson again. A little pancake there by Evans to keep it up, but not long enough.
Set 1, they managed to hang around with Georgia in set 2, but I thought Georgia was actually the much better team in that second set. Now here we are in set 3, and Mississippi State quickly out of the gates, just on fire.
Good defense in the back row by the libero Gunter. Here's Mash into the block and down. Is committed. The block has been there as well, causing problems for Georgia. Bailey Cox going down to get that one and straight up the middle.
Finally come up with a kill, and it goes to Mackenzie Norris, who we've mentioned the fact that Mash out on the left pin as a youngster is really playing a big role for Georgia, and Mackenzie Norris.
So 8-2 your score here in this third set. Missy Whittemore, Sam Ravitch on hand with you here in Starkville, opening night of SEC play. Kept alive there by Mississippi State. Back to get it, Cromartie. And Gunter has to throw it over for a free ball. Nice dig by Coulter. Pushing it and redirect.
Will go up and swing high around the block, so those wings have to stay back and defend. Mississippi State does that much better here in this third set.
Clara Brower to the left pin, and mashes it off the block. Mash from Avon, Indiana. As Myrick puts a little extra.
And they catch that block just floating. It never really gets set up there.
Tough set there, back to.
But again, really nice delivery from Brower that time as Casey Evans is able to turn one down the line.
Coulter to the backside. Petties has it blocked straight back. Sophie Fisher.
Fence on a slide. You'll often see a hole in the block, and Fisher just moves so well laterally. There's no hole in that block at all.
Coulter to Myrick, has to wait for it. Not so quick there. Brower on the backside, kept up in the back. Here's Evans into the. Casey Evans returning back for her 5th season, trying to bring Georgia back here in this one.
And Sam, that was Waden out of the back row. You almost don't notice because she's such a big jump.
And the first to do so since 2014, and she really, really earned it. All the hard work, and Coach Julie Dennis just can't say enough about what she has done for this.
Certainly have every opportunity to transfer. She would be one that would have had many opportunities. And I think it says a lot about this program for her to still be here.
Myrick with the pass. And tools off the
We've already seen her go line. We've seen her go deep. We've seen her go high hands. That is why she is so effective.
Goes quick. Cromartie with the kick.
She's going to go front or back. She's trying to make that blocker have to wait, and then just the speed to the outside.
Harper's swing there is kept up by Mississippi State. In the back row, Myrick gets it to Coulter. And Deja Robinson on the...
Tough to defend.
Alexa Fortin to Fisher. And she comes...
Like Sophie Fisher might not be available offensively because of the quality of the pass. She'll run behind the setter. They'll hang a high ball up for her, and she just has to be at this point. They got to create pressure because we saw what happens in set one when they don't, and we just saw Mississippi State go off for a huge high hitting efficiency.
Might have gone off of Waden's back there and finishing it off.
By it, because they don't give up on a point. There's been several times where Mississippi State has perhaps celebrated a little too soon, and Georgia doesn't let these rallies end easily.
15-10 here in the third set as Lauren Myrick. Mississippi State hitting an even 500 here in this one, close to the net there. Brower able to keep it alive. Here's Myrick charging in on it. Evans able to get a hand to it. Nice hustle by Mash. Bailey Cox has to throw it over. Free ball coming from Mississippi State. And into the net.
Down the stretch, that 13-game winning streak that you mentioned, they had back-to-back wins against Tennessee and Arkansas to really clinch their spot in the tournament. It was so impressive.
Here's Abby Mash. Slowed down by the block of Mississippi State. Myrick dances on the tape there. The ball lands on Georgia's side. Mash off balance. I thought it was interesting too, Missy. We were talking to Coach Dennis and basically asking, do you think that this Mississippi State program has the respect that it deserves yet? She said, well, you had a few pieces from last year's team.
Yeah, still picked to finish 5th after finishing 2nd last year. So, I mean, still fighting for some of that respect. But I also really like the point that she pointed out that a lot of that respect comes from within and her players believing that that's where they belong. And that a big piece of it is that, you know, that statement we've all heard before that, you know, there's privilege with that. Quite a few teams last year would be considered that those teams would consider it an upset, I would say, having lost to State last year. And so they're going to have to battle through this SEC season, but I really like what we're seeing, and I think they're ready for it.
But yeah, this Mississippi State team finished 2nd to Kentucky last year and still picked to finish 5th. But I think it'll be interesting to see, you know, who will be the Mississippi State team.
It's a big test for Georgia because I really wondered with the pieces they have returning, and you combine that with Sophie Fisher, if they could be that team that surprises people. I think Arkansas will be very successful, but I'm not sure that they're going to be a team that surprises people because they were right on the cusp of that last year. And so I think people are prepared for Arkansas to be very good this year. And we're seeing that reflected in the national poll as they're ranked number 20, have a couple huge wins already this year over.
Now leading her squad with 11 kills on 24 swings tonight, hitting .292. 5-point difference here in this third set, all even, and they're taking...
Lull that defense to sleep, and they kind of forget about you back there, and then she sends one over. She actually comes out now, and we're going to see a change as Orther, the other setter, is in the front row, and Coach Dennis told us that they may go to this at times. They call it a 5-2.
So just trying to change up the looks here as Orther gets her first pass to the left side. And it's nice when you're setting to a person like Shania Cromartie because she makes it
as easy as possible for her, and that's what Myrick does.
Net was moving there. And the point to the Bulldog. How difficult is it for...
Because of the speed of this offense, that very first ball she's setting out there to the pin, there's more of a chance of error. There's a smaller window to hit that ball when the offense is so fast. And so Orther did a nice job in that first ball she delivered.
Orther keeps it up there. Petty's to Cromartie out of system. Fortin to Evans. That's stuffed right back. And Fortin back to Evans, stuffed once again. kept up by Bailey Cox, and a free ball coming for the Bulldogs. Orther, Cromartie into the dig back there of Mallory Downing. 15 lead here in this third set. Mississippi State took the first, Georgia took the second. Forward to Evans, Petties with the dig. Free ball coming. Miscommunication there. And miscommunication there. So both sides giving up free balls here in this rally. One trying to close out this third set. Close to the net. And the point to Mississippi 4 here. Georgia trying to get back to what they were doing in the second set of this match, which was serving really tough and getting Mississippi State out of rhythm and out of system.
Georgia.
Gabby Coulter behind the service line for Mississippi State. Here's Evans on the left pin. Kept up in the back there by the libero Lily Gunter. Evans into the block. Downing with the up. And a tough...
Really interested to see how both of these teams will respond tonight, because Mississippi State coming off of a road trip where they were handed 2 losses. You know, they had a very successful pre-conference season. So I think they were feeling good about the end. It was like running into a buzzsaw. And so 3 quick sets against a very talented Georgia Tech team. And I think both these teams were anxious to get back out on the floor and sort of set things straight.
Coulter, not the best set.
So quick, you're going to have some miscues like this. But as you said, the great thing about Cromartie is her athletic ability saves some of those plays.
Myrick with the kill.
I mean, she is really a solid outside hitter.
I was just about to say that too. She does it so quietly. Sometimes you forget that she's there.
Celebration.
We mentioned it. Lauren Myrick now with over 600 kills for her career for Mississippi State.
And doing it from the left side. That's just an unbelievable number from a left side hitter, because she's taken 25 swings. So she's being asked, you know, situations, and that they needed to make sure that they were giving their left sides opportunities in system to be able to score points, and they've done a really nice job of that tonight.
Mash looking for a tip. So Abby Mash has once again been a bright spot for this team as that serve goes long, but even swings.
Yeah, obviously with the absence of Stivrins, they've had to play with their lineup, and we've seen their freshman outside Haugen at times as well. But Abby Mash is...
Yeah, she's been doing a really nice job there.
Such a different style of middle attack from Georgia when you compare it to what you get from Mississippi State, which is very quick, high above the net, taking the ball out of the setter's hands. And then
Clara Brower back to serve. So Georgia's climbed back in this thing, but a couple of service errors after.
Have to go back to the service line and create some pressure. I think they've done a better job of that. But then, of course, you have to. There are times in the match you don't want to have back-to-back.
6th ace on the year for Sanaya Petties as she sends another one away to get Georgia out of system. Joust at the net. Deja Robinson there falls on Mississippi State's side. Cromartie has her swing block. Back row attack from Myrick. Couldn't get much behind it. Here on the left pin, Mash.
Again, we've talked about the fact that Coulter played in a 6-2 last year, so across the front row is all new to her. Absolutely, and you got to take a look at the scoreboard, know where you are in the match. This is a must-win set for Georgia. That currently ranked teams in the SEC, and it does seem to be a very favorable schedule for Georgia as we play that round robin and a half, and that they own in conference play with that schedule.
Yeah, certainly an opportunity for Georgia to try and get back to that 2019 year, the 2017 year. They have struggled the last couple of years, but when you have a returner like Casey Evans, you get help from Sophie Fisher in the middle.
And now that's Cromartie down on the ground, having to hit well off the net, and a Georgia net error.
Good chance coming here from Mississippi State into the cross court, dug out by Bailey Cox. On the attack, Evans has it stuffed.
Adam, those are 3 of the SEC's best players meeting up right there.
Sixth service error for Mississippi State tonight. I got to imagine, too, as Georgia makes blocks, right? That's got to help a tremendous amount.
Oh, yeah, blocking alongside the same player, sort of like passing alongside the same player in the back court. There's just so much unspoken communication at this point in their career between the two of them that makes them so much better.
Gabby Coulter will set up Waden. Terribly high for the match, just hitting 252. But hey, you can't argue with the fight here for Tom Black's squad.
Yeah, and in this current set, Georgia out-hitting Mississippi State 353 to 250 right now, a whole 100 points higher. It's really been the points they've given away that have allowed Mississippi State to take the lead here. It's been service errors. We've seen a net violation. So at this point, hitting really well, doing some nice things. They just have to reduce the errors on their side of the net.
Just helped over by Waden. Back and forth. Evans into the block. Backside for Harper, hands it to Gunter. And point to Georgia. 3-0 scoring run for Georgia. And an ace. Finally fall.
In a 6-2, we've talked about the difference between a 5-1 and a 6-2. This is a team that's been in a 5-1 in the past, and they're in a 6-2. They got hitters coming at you all across the net, defense, and so I'm excited to see what they bring into conference play.
Arkansas ranked number 20, highest ranking since 1999. Myrick floats it over and finds the floor. So Mississippi State, Lauren has 13. Georgia with 3 players in double figures for kills. Mash, Evans, and Sophie Fisher. Here is Fisher.
Right there in that right front. She's absolutely right about it, but just wide.
So 3-0 run for Mississippi State to answer Georgia's 4-0 run. Casey Evans trying to get
to happen, but she said, I think that was being perceived as, you know, if we win one set, that then there's some sort of victory in that. And there's really not. And so she said they completely changed their mindset. And boy, could you tell, they just looked like a different team. They were no longer happy with taking one set. And both of those matches at Florida went to 5 sets. So the change of mind certainly changed things for this Mississippi State team. And as you said, it had to create great confidence for them moving forward in conference play.
Sophie Fisher up the middle, 5-point mark. Still a ways to go, and Georgia has not given up in any of the 3+ sets that we have played so far tonight. As Casey Evans tries a swing high and misses the block there. Well, and Casey Evans has taken 38 swings here tonight. I mean, a lot of the offense going to run through her, and she knows that. She wants that, but no doubt legs are going to get tired, arms get tired. Here's Waden.
Trying to close to her left. That leaves all sorts of court space for Waden there.
11 matches with 10 or more kills for Gabby Waden. Here's Myrick on the left pin, kept up by Mallory Downing. Here's Evans in transition, has it blocked. Fortin tries the middle, and this time Sophie Fisher, who was playing kind of in the outside in Craig Skinner's system in Kentucky, and now moving in the middle in Georgia. That's not an easy move.
It's a really nice, the only one in the gym who doesn't know where it's at. They get exactly what they want. They get the slow down, but can't convert it.
And Sophie Fisher to send it away. Myrick calls for it right back and gets it. You saw that whole thing develop, Missy. She
trajectory of that ball and just keep the offense moving quickly. And then credit Myrick, who does a great job swinging high.
Myrick so tough from the service line. Myrick's got 11 aces on the year. Handled well, though, by Georgia's back row. Cromartie elevates. Kept up by Bailey Cox, the libero for Georgia. And Mash.
Impressive outing from Abby Mash.
And so Mash hitting 345 tonight. She hit 538 in the loss to Georgia Tech. So last 2 matches have been kind to Abby Mash.
Those blockers' hands and push it right off.
Gets us to match point here tonight in Starkville. Sanaya Petty sends it away. On the backside, Froming into the dig of Myrick. Kept up by Bailey Cox. Back row attack. Petty's is there. Cromartie. pushed over. How about Myrick hitting the floor? Match point here. No give up on either side. Into the cross court and missing.